Senator Ernst.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Ranking Member, and thanks again to the witnesses for being here today. And Gus, Mr. Barker, thanks for being here. And in your testimony, you did do a very nice job of describing how productive Iowa farmers are, but you did also, in your remarks, mention the high cost of land in Iowa. And that makes it particularly difficult for our young and beginning farmers and small farmers. There was a 2022 study from Iowa State University that gave the land value. It was called the Land Value Survey, and it gave the cost of an average price per acre of Iowa farmland. And it started, average was around $11,000 or so per acre, but it ranged up to $30,000 for high up in northwest Iowa. I know you're familiar with some of those costs. And according to the most recent USDA census data, which came out in 2019, we know, and I've heard this before, but the average age of an Iowa farmer is just over 57 years old. So my sister and her husband are, those average Iowa farmers right there. So, Mr. Barker, from your experience, how can we better help and incentivize young and beginning farmers so that they start and stay in agriculture? We get a lot of these young people, they'll start in farming, but they find that they can't often stay in farming. So are there special financing terms or other unique programs that are being offered to keep these young people in agriculture?
We use a variety of programs, Senator. We've used a partnership with USDA where they provide a down payment and we provide the funding for a purchase of hog facilities. And the young man's willing to work. They have to be willing to work. It's not something you can just sit in the office and manage. They've got to be willing to do that. We use the programs that have the guarantees. We feel the new USDA Express program would fill a niche. Some of the opportunities my young farmers have had come up are under a deadline because there are multiple people willing to pay the price. And for a young farmer who applies for a USDA loan, they don't come through very fast. And if that's delayed, that seller is going to go somewhere else where he knows he can get the money fast.
And Gus, if I could interrupt there,
Yep.
just so folks know, how long does it typically take for that process?
We estimate 60 days minimum to
yeah.
get that done. In a worst case situation, at times when funding is low, it could be 6 months. It is really a pretty tough time. The paperwork is intimidating. And so if the lender can use their own forms, have a 36-hour turnaround, that young person has the best shot of getting something purchased for them. Not everybody has family members that are willing to help. The state of Iowa does have a program that may be tailored at the federal level that gives a tax break to the seller of the farm to the young farmer. For a 5-year term, they get a tax break on their income tax as a tax credit. And that has worked well for some of the beginning farmers in Iowa.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. And Mr. Wagner, how about you?
Yeah, so we like the Express program, by the way. I think that's a great idea, something that we would definitely support. I think what we look at it is we do a lot of different structuring around young beginning farmers. So down payment assistance it tailored the cash flows to the right thing. But more broadly, we want to provide off-farm income opportunities for the partner or the spouse who's working in that rural community. And if we can do that and have that off-farm income and contribute to them getting on their feet as full-time farmers, and as their operation grows, then they can come back and be full-time. So if you look at it's a whole look. Much of the farm income around the country is off-farm, and we need that support and that strong rural community in order to help those producers start and stay on that farm, as you say. I think it's a key item to look at it holistically versus just on the farmer aspect, because that's just not broad enough. You can't get started the way it is with ag today and the prices that we have to pay. It has to be kind of a collective working hard and working 2 jobs or 1 job to try and make that work, and is quite often the solution. And I think that's something we're producing. We're trying to support that growth in those rural communities, as well as providing specific programs for young and beginning farmers.
Yeah, thank you both very much. I think it's important that folks out there in non-ag country understand how difficult it is to really get into farming and then be able to thrive in farming. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Ernst. Senator Tuberville.